All right, cricket fans. And this time we're looking at all the shakeups in the England squad before the second T20 against India.
Hmm.
You've probably seen all the news from Eurosport and Business Standard.
Yes.
There are some pretty big changes happening. So we're going to break down what these changes mean for England, especially after losing that first match, and with the Chennai pitch potentially posing some serious challenges.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see England potentially using this series as a testing ground,
Yeah.
experimenting with their lineup and their strategies, which is especially interesting with the T20 World Cup coming up.
Totally. Like they're trying to find the perfect recipe for success.
Hmm.
They're adding all these different ingredients and spices to see what works best. And speaking of ingredients, England decided to swap out Gus Atkinson for Bryden Carse.
Yeah.
Atkinson had kind of a rough first match, giving away 38 runs in just 2 overs. But Carse, on the other hand, has been doing really well recently in both Test and T20.
Yeah, his Test debut against Pakistan was really impressive.
Yeah.
England won that series 2-1, and it showed that he can handle the pressure and perform on the big stage. His ability to get extra bounce and movement, especially in conditions that might favor spin, could be really valuable for England. I think this move could signal a change in England's bowling strategy.
Interesting.
Maybe they're aiming for a more controlled and accurate attack, which could be crucial considering we're expecting some spin-friendly conditions in Chennai.
That's a great point. It is fascinating how just changing one player can suggest a whole new approach.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Carse fits into this new strategy. But wait, there's another twist to the roster.
Oh.
Jacob Bethel's feeling a little under the weather,
Oh, no.
and he might miss the second match. If he's out, Jamie Smith could be making his T20 international debut.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure for a first-timer. Yeah, the wicket-keeping situation is definitely going to be one to watch closely. If Smith gets his chance, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the pressure of an international debut and how this last-minute change affects England's overall game plan.
For sure.
Each wicketkeeper brings their own strengths.
Yeah.
Smith might be better at certain types of deliveries or have a totally different approach to building partnerships with a batsman.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a look at the predicted batting lineup that Business Standard has put out.
Okay.
They've got Ben Duckett and Philip Salt opening, followed by Joss Butler, Harry Brook, Liam Livingstone, and then either Jacob Bethel or Jamie Overton if Bethel can't play. Anything surprising there for you?
It seems like a pretty standard lineup for England.
Yeah.
A good mix of power hitters and some more strategic players. The big question mark is how they'll deal with those spin-friendly conditions in Chennai. We know Brook has talked about his struggles against spin in T20s.
Yes.
This is where the Chennai pitch becomes really important.
Yeah, the Chennai pitch. Everyone's talking about it. Business Standard even called it a spin-friendly pitch.
Okay.
So for those of us who maybe aren't cricket experts,
Right.
can you explain what makes a pitch spin-friendly and why that might be tricky for England?
Sure, so a spin-friendly pitch is usually drier and offers more grip.
Okay.
This lets the ball turn more sharply when a spin bowler delivers it, which makes it harder for the batsman to predict where the ball's going and gives the bowling team more chances to get them out.
Oh, I see.
Imagine trying to hit a moving target that keeps changing direction.
Whoa.
That's what it's like for a batsman on a spin-friendly pitch.
That sounds tough.
Yeah.
And I remember Harry Brook specifically saying that facing spin bowling in T20 is really challenging. So what makes spin so tricky in this format of the game? And do you think knowing about this Chennai pitch is making his concerns even worse?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what makes spin tricky in T20s is the deception.
Right.
The batsmen are under so much pressure to score quickly. And spin bowlers can really use that by changing up their pace and flight and trajectory.
Okay.
This forces batsmen to make really fast decisions, which often leads to mistakes.
Makes sense.
And knowing that the Chennai pitch is likely to help the spinners, it's no wonder Brook's feeling the pressure. It's almost like knowing you're going into a boxing match against someone known for their knockout punch.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. So it sounds like Brook and the rest of the England team have a big challenge ahead of them.
For sure.
But what kind of adjustments do you think Brook could make to counter that spin threat?
He might have to hold back a little on his aggressive instincts.
Right.
Sometimes he tries to go for those big shots against spin, which is risky. Instead, he could focus on rotating the strike, taking singles and doubles to keep the scoreboard moving, maybe play more defensive shots at first to build good base, before going for those power hits.
Okay.
He needs to find the right balance between attacking and defending.
So like choosing his battles carefully.
Exactly.
Picking the right moments to unleash his power. This actually reminds me of one time I was watching a T20 match. And there was this batsman who was known for his really aggressive style.
Right.
And he was facing this really tricky spin bowler. And every time he tried to go for a big shot, the spinner would totally outfox him.
Wow.
But then he started showing a bit more patience and just working the ball around for singles and doubles.
Yeah.
And that's when he started to dominate the bowler. Sometimes the best offense is a good defense. Right?
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance and adapting to the conditions.
For sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of adjustments, let's talk about England's bowling attack.
Okay.
They've always favored pace, but on a spin-friendly pitch like Chennai, they might need to change their strategy. This is where Karst becomes even more interesting. Right? You were saying earlier how valuable he could be in these conditions.
Yeah.
But he's mainly a pace bowler, right? So how effective can he actually be on a pitch that's going to favor the spinners?
Well, while he's known for his pace, he's also shown that he can get bounce and movement even on slower surfaces. This makes him a more well-rounded bowler than just a pure speedster.
Okay.
Think of it this way. A pace bowler on a spin-friendly pitch can be kind of like a surprise guest at a party.
Oh, okay.
The batsman might not be expecting it, and that element of surprise can really work for England.
So he's like their secret weapon.
Yeah, you could say that.
Adds a whole other layer of intrigue to this match. But let's not forget about our other potential debutant, Jamie Smith.
Right.
If he gets to play, how do you think his inclusion will affect England's batting order, especially with Bethel being uncertain?
Having a debutant in a high-pressure match like this is always a bit of a gamble.
True.
But it also gives Smith a fantastic opportunity to show what he can do on the international stage.
Absolutely.
And remember, each batsman brings something different to the table.
Yeah.
Smith's approach might actually work really well with the other batsmen and create a more balanced and unpredictable batting unit.
It's like adding a new instrument to an orchestra. You never know what kind of harmony it'll create until you hear it play. But speaking of harmony, or maybe the lack thereof, England are going to be trying to bounce back from that loss in the first match. How much do you think that loss is going to affect them psychologically in this second T20?
Momentum is so important in any sport.
Yeah.
Especially in T20 cricket, where things can change so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
India are going to be full of confidence after that big win,
Right.
while England are going to be under pressure to level the series. This is where leadership is really key.
Yeah.
Jos Buttler's going to need to rally his team, instill belief, and create a positive mindset.
It's all about mental resilience.
Right.
Can they shake off that disappointment, learn from their mistakes, and come into this match with a fresh perspective?
Exactly. Dwelling on the past isn't going to help.
Yep.
They need to focus on the present, on the challenge ahead, and on executing their game plan.
So forget about game one and treat this like a fresh start.
Exactly. It's like a game of chess.
Oh, okay.
You can't keep replaying the moves you made before.
Yeah.
You have to anticipate your opponent's next move and plan your strategy accordingly.
Interesting. So zooming out a bit, what do you think all these changes and potential challenges tell us about England's long-term T20 strategy under McCullum?
I think what's interesting is that we're seeing a team that's not afraid to experiment,
Okay.
to take risks, to
Yeah.
try new things. They're willing to push boundaries and challenge the way things are usually done.
It's like they're saying, let's try everything and see what works.
Well, not quite.
Uh-huh.
They're not just making random changes.
Yeah.
There's a method to their madness.
Okay.
They're trying to find that sweet spot between getting results and experimenting, building a team that can adapt to different conditions and opponents.
So they're not just looking for a quick fix.
Yeah.
They're looking for a sustainable approach that can lead to long-term success.
Exactly. They're building a team for the future, not just for the next match.
It sounds like they're playing the long game.
Yeah, I think so.
Building a foundation for lasting success. And speaking of building, let's talk about the other team in this equation, India.
Okay.
They had a pretty convincing win in the first match.
They did?
And they'll be looking to keep that momentum going. How do you think the psychological dynamics are going to play out between the two teams in this second T20?
I think that win in the first match will definitely give India a mental edge.
Right.
They'll be full of confidence, while England might still be carrying the weight of that loss. This is where the mental game becomes just as important as the physical one.
Yeah.
It's a battle of nerves, a test of character.
So what are some of the key things we should watch out for in terms of this mental game, this battle of wits between the two teams?
Keep an eye on the body language.
Okay.
The reactions to setbacks, the way the captains handle the pressure. It's often the small things that show you a team's state of mind.
Interesting.
For England, it's about staying calm under pressure and not letting that previous loss affect their decisions.
Right.
And for India, it's about not getting complacent and staying hungry for the win.
And let's not forget about the clash of styles.
Oh, yeah.
England with their go big or go home approach versus India with their more calculated risk-taking and adaptability. It's like watching fireworks versus a carefully choreographed dance.
Uh-huh. I like that.
So which style do you think might have the upper hand in this match, especially with the conditions in Chennai?
That Chennai pitch, being spin-friendly, could really dictate how the game is played.
Okay.
England's aggressive batting might struggle against India's spinners.
Makes sense.
But India's adaptability and experience playing on these kinds of surfaces could give them an advantage.
So you're saying the pitch might actually favor India's more measured and strategic approach, and that England might have to rethink their all-out attack.
It's possible. It's all about adapting to the conditions, playing smart cricket, and taking advantage of the opportunities that come up.
Right.
That's what's so great about T20 cricket.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable and dynamic, and it often comes down to who can stay calm in those crucial moments.
So it sounds like we're in for another exciting match.
Definitely.
So for everyone listening, what are some of the key things you'd recommend they pay attention to during this game?
Watch how England's batsmen deal with his spin, especially Brooke.
Okay.
See how Cars fits into the bowling attack and if he can make an impact. And keep an eye on the battle between the captain's butler and his Indian counterpart.
Good points.
Those are just a few of the many storylines that are going to play out in this match.
It's like a puzzle with all these different layers. Each piece showing you a different part of the game. It's not just about watching the ball being hit.
Right.
It's about understanding the strategy, the psychology, all the little things that make cricket so captivating. So to wrap this up for our listeners, we've got a reshuffled England squad, a confident Indian team, a spin-friendly pitch, and a whole lot of intrigue surrounding the second T20.
But I think the biggest takeaway is this. Don't just watch the match. Observe it. Pay attention to the tactics, the key moments, the mental game that's happening beneath the surface.
Because there's so much more to cricket than just runs and wickets.
Absolutely.
It's a story of strategy, skill, and resilience all happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe this shakeup will light a fire under England. Maybe we'll see Karsay come in and make a big impact, or Smith seize his debut opportunity, or Brooke conquer his spin demons.
Possibilities are endless.
That's what makes this sport so fascinating. Until next time, keep those cricket brains buzzing, and we'll catch you on the flip side for another deep dive into the world of sports.
Sounds good.
Sometimes the best offense is a good defense, right?
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance and adapting to the conditions. Now, speaking of adjustments, let's switch gears and talk about England's bowling attack.
Okay.
They've always loved their pace bowlers.
Right.
But on a spin-friendly pitch, like we're expecting in Chennai, they might need to rethink their strategy. This is where bringing in Karsay gets even more interesting.
Yeah. You mentioned before that he could be a real asset in these conditions. But isn't he primarily a pace bowler?
He is.
How effective can he really be on a pitch that's likely to favor the spinners?
Well, while he is known for his pace, he's also shown that he can get a lot of bounce and movement even on those slower surfaces.
Okay.
So that makes him a more versatile bowler than just a pure speedster.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's like, think of it this way. A pace bowler on a spin-friendly pitch can be a bit like a surprise guest at a party.
Oh, okay.
The batsmen aren't expecting it, and that element of surprise can really work in England's favor.
So he's kind of like a wild card then?
Yeah, you could say that.
It's a secret weapon they can pull out?
Exactly.
That adds a whole other level of intrigue to this match. And we can't forget about the other potential debutante, Jamie Smith.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If he does end up playing, how do you see him fitting into the batting order, especially with all the uncertainty around Bethel's fitness?
Yeah, throwing a debutante into a high-pressure match like this is always a gamble. But it's also a huge opportunity for Smith to show everyone what he's got on the international stage.
For sure.
And, every batsman brings something unique to the lineup.
Yeah.
Smith's style might actually complement the other batsmen really well and create a more balanced and unpredictable batting unit.
Yeah, like adding a new instrument to an orchestra.
Exactly.
You never know what kind of sound it'll make until you hear them all playing together.
Right.
But speaking of harmony, or maybe disharmony in this case, England are going to be looking to bounce back from that loss in the first match.
Yeah, for sure.
How much do you think the psychological impact of that defeat is going to affect them in this second T20?
You know, momentum is huge in any sport,
It is.
but especially in T20 cricket, where
Hmm.
the game can swing so quickly.
Yeah.
India's going to be riding high on confidence after that dominant win,
Right.
and England's going to be under a lot of pressure to level the series.
Mm.
So this is where leadership really comes in.
Oh.
Joss Butler is going to need to rally his troops, instill belief, and create a positive mindset for the team.
It's all about mental resilience, isn't it?
It is.
Can they shake off that disappointment? Learn from their mistakes and approach this match with a fresh outlook.
Exactly. Dwelling on the past won't do them any good.
Nope.
They need to focus on the here and now, on the challenge in front of them, and on executing their game plan.
So just forget about that first game and treat this like a fresh start.
Precisely. It's a lot like a chess game.
Okay.
You can't keep replaying the moves you already made.
Right.
You have to think ahead, anticipate your opponent's next move, and plan your strategy accordingly.
So zooming out a little bit,
Yeah.
what do you think all these changes and challenges tell us about England's long-term T20 strategy under McCullum?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that we're seeing a team that's not afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
They're willing to take risks, try new things,
Yeah.
push the boundaries, and challenge conventional wisdom.
It's like they're saying, let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Well, not exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just random changes.
Okay.
There's a clear method to what they're doing.
I see.
I think they're searching for that balance between getting results and experimenting, building a team that can adapt to any conditions and any opponent.
So it's not about a quick fix.
No,
It's about a sustainable approach that will bring long-term success.
exactly. They're building a team for the future, not just the next match.
Yeah, it really sounds like they're in it for the long haul,
Hmm.
building a foundation for lasting success. And speaking of building, let's talk about the other team in this equation, India.
Right.
They had a pretty convincing win in that first match,
They did.
and they'll be looking to keep that momentum going. How do you think the psychology of it all will play out, between the two teams in this second T20?
I think that first match win is going to give India a real psychological advantage.
Right.
They'll be coming in with so much confidence, while England might still be feeling the weight of that loss.
Yep.
This is where the mental side of things becomes just as crucial as the physical side.
Right.
It's like a battle of nerves, a true test of character.
It's like a poker game, isn't it?
Hmm.
Each team trying to read the other, bluff their way through tough situations, and capitalize on any weakness they see. So what should we be looking out for in terms of this mental game, this battle of wits between the two teams?
Pay attention to the body language,
Okay.
how they react to setbacks, how the captains handle those high-pressure moments.
Right.
Often it's the little things that give away a team's mindset.
Interesting. And of course, there's the clash of styles.
Oh, yeah.
England with their aggressive go big or go home approach.
Yeah.
And India with their more calculated risk-taking and adaptability.
Yeah. It's like watching fireworks versus a carefully planned dance routine.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, which style do you think might have the upper hand in this match, particularly given the conditions in Chennai?
Well, that Chennai pitch being so spin-friendly can really dictate how the game is played. England's aggressive batting might be tested against those Indian spinners.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, India's adaptability and experience playing on those kinds of surfaces could give them a real edge.
So the pitch might actually work in favor of India's more measured strategic approach.
It's definitely a possibility.
And England might have to rethink their all-out attacking style.
Yeah, they might. It's all about adapting to the conditions, playing smart cricket, and seizing the opportunities that come up.
And that's the beauty of T20 cricket, isn't it?
It is.
Unpredictable dynamic, and often comes down to who can hold their nerve in those key moments.
Well, it sounds like we're in for another thrilling match.
Oh, absolutely.
So for our listeners out there, what are the key things you'd recommend they keep an eye on during the game?
Okay, so definitely watch how England's batsmen deal with the spin challenge, especially Brock.
Oh,
See how Kars fits into that bowling attack and if he can make a difference.
right.
And of course, keep an eye on the captaincy battle between Butler and his Indian counterpart. All great points. Those are just a few of the storylines that are going to unfold in this match. It's like a puzzle with all these layers, each piece revealing a different aspect of the game. It's not just about watching the ball being hit,
Right.
It's about understanding the strategy, the psychology, the subtle things that make cricket so captivating. So to sum it all up, we've got a reshuffled England squad, a confident Indian team, a spin-friendly pitch, and a whole lot of intrigue surrounding this second T20.
And the biggest takeaway, I think, is this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't just watch the match. Observe it. Pay attention to the tactics, the key moments, all the mental aspects that are happening beneath the surface.
Because there's just so much more to cricket than runs and wickets.
Absolutely.
It's a story that's unfolding right in front of you, a story of strategy, skill, and resilience. And who knows, maybe this shakeup will be the spark England needs.
You never know.
Maybe Carsey will come in and make an immediate impact, or Smith will take his debut opportunity and run with it, or Brooke will conquer his spin demons. The possibilities are endless, right?
They are. And that's what makes this sport so exciting.
Exactly. Until next time, everyone, keep those cricket brains buzzing, and we'll catch you on the flip side into the world of sports.